everyone. It's Angelica Wagner, your wellness coach again. So today's lesson is about this again. And we need to fill our body with at least half of this with food and fuel that fuels our energy for the day. And maybe people have issues about 3 o'clock in the afternoon because their energy levels are really low and they don't really know how to cope with the after the lunch slump. Well, one of the things I'm going to do for you in this class is find out what you ate at lunch that was where you are that you are allergic to. So Edgar Casey said there are only 2 diseases. Now, I don't always agree with that, but he was a pretty smart man. And he said the only 2 diseases are the disease of assimilation and the disease of elimination. And if you look at where we're at in the world right now, assimilation, you might say, oh, how are we assimilating to the new virus that's floating around in the sky? How are we assimilating to the new work habits that we are doing? How are we assimilating to a global crisis? How are we assimilating, and what are we doing with our food? So not in this video, but in the next video, I'm actually going to show you, because the biggest deal with people not eating well is not having the time to prepare meals. So my goal, since I raised 4 children on my own and had to figure out a few tips and tricks to feed everybody, because there was never 4 people at the table or 5 people at the table. There was always 8 or 10. They brought over their friends and families. And so even after I was single and everyone had grown up and left home, I still to this day do not know how to cook for 1 person. And I deliberately do not cook for 1 person. I deliberately do 2 or 3 days of meal prep and meal planning in advance, and so that I'm not reaching for something that's in a box when I'm really hungry. I'm reaching for this, or I'm reaching for this because it's handy. And so not in this class, but in the next video, I'm going to show you how to make salads in a jar, and you can get 7 glasses. Sometimes I use tomato sauce, pasta sauce for my glasses. These particular glasses I got at Home Depot or Canadian Tire. They're mason jars. They have beautiful lids on them, but you don't need to do that. You can just use a pasta glass and be fine. So I use 5 or 6 of these, and then I layer them with food, and I stuff it in really, really tight, so that when you take this jar and dump it into a bowl, all you have to do is add salad dressing, and you have the most delicious, amazing, flavorful, wonderful, nutri-filled dish you could ever wish for. So that's one of the things. So back to Edgar Casey. So Edgar Casey believed that it was assimilation, and we talked in the last session about if you can't pronounce it, your body does not know how to figure this out. Like, what foreign thing is this? I speak Italian. You're giving me Chinese food, or I am from this culture and I don't understand. It's the same thing in your belly. When you're giving your belly food that it does not recognize, guess what happens to your cells? Your cells say, don't want it. What am I going to do with that? So, like, you ever had a big coat that's really too big for you and you're still wearing it? That's what happens with food. So the things that are on your body that you think is fat is just really food that your body said, not going to process that, not going to assimilate that, not going to digest that. So he said 2 things: assimilation and elimination. I am a doctor of integrative medicine. I see people all the time who just don't poop. And you know what? If that doesn't happen on a regular basis, all kinds of things go on in your body. And so you need to understand elimination is as important as assimilation. So what you eat has to be assimilated, and then whatever you don't need has to leave. So if you are doing the box, guess what? Stuff in your body gets to hang around more often. It took me like years and years and years to understand that I had a dairy allergy, because actually the things that you like to drink, I used to love to drink milk, and maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago, stopped all of that. Instead, I still drink a lot of almond milk or cashew milk or nut milk, but it's not dairy. I also discovered that even half a roll of bread, crusty bread that you stick into chili or stick into soup, I can have half a roll of that, and 20 minutes later I'm out like a light. It's because I have an allergy to white flour, and that makes me very, very, very sleepy. And that took a long time to figure out. So we have two things today: assimilation of good food, elimination of good food, and ingestion of enough fluids and food to fuel you. So I happen to have lots of soups. I'm going to do a class just on cooking soups and show you some of the wonderful soups I cook. So if you don't have soup, you got to have soup in your house right now. So half of one of these is like half of one of these. So if you have half a jar of salad and half a can of soup, if you're not cooking for yourself, then guess what? That's a very, very happy meal for your stomach. If you are looking at how can I make soup? Well, these are split peas. These are different types of split peas. And just soaking those split peas and cooking them up in some chicken broth is all really, really nurturing for the body and right now for the soul. We are in Canada in winter, and it's darn cold. Like, it's average of -3. Calgary had like -17 a few days ago. There are parts of the country that are warmer, but nobody can go out, or I go out every day. And you see the beautiful picture behind me. When I'm not able to walk in the woods, I sit in this chair and enjoy the wishing tree and enjoy the trees. So again, I get a lot of energy from the trees. I get a lot of energy from nature. And so I discovered, like, maybe more than 10 years ago, 15 years ago, when then I stopped watching television, I consumed a whole lot more information, and I consumed 2 PhDs and a specialty degree and all kinds of amazing things. I'm currently consuming Italian, and I just love, love, love learning the language of Italian. But these are things that, you know, make my brain happy, so my body is happier. So just focusing on where is the energy going, how are you assimilating your energy, how are you eliminating your energy. If you're mad all the time, guess what? Your organs are going to be mad with you. Your gallbladder, your liver are going to be mad with you. If you're sad all the time, if you have grief in your lungs are going to not work as well. If you are sitting in a chair all the time, your small intestine and your large intestine are not going to be digesting, therefore you're not going to be eliminating. And guess what else happens? You don't make as good decisions. The organ of discernment is the small intestine. So food is assimilated, yes, in the stomach, but further assimilated in the small intestine. And it's in the small intestine where things are decided, like, is this good for me or bad for me? Is this fuel or is this kryptonite? And so I just want you to ponder those thoughts, write yourself a little list of people, places, things, and environments, and maybe food, that you think are fuel, and on the other side, kryptonite. And I'm just going to leave you with those thoughts for today. Have a wonderful day. Again, I'm so grateful to you for sharing your time, your energy, and your attention, and your investment in this amazing journey of wellness. Be blessed. It's Angelica.